Hello there and welcome to EcksToo. I am Corey, and today we're going to be looking at something that I think is pretty cool. So obviously here on EcksToo we are big fans of Star Wars Squadrons as well as Star Wars Empire at War. So a few months before release, Eck had an idea that what if we tried to put the two together, and he asked me to set up a kind of map in Star Wars Empire at War with the forces you'd see in Star Wars Squadrons. So I went to one of the modelers on Empire at War Expanded, which is the mod for Empire at War that I run, as Ceratul, and asked if he would model an MC-75, and then he modeled that and I textured it, we got it in game, and I started setting up a map for that, which as you can see here is modeled after Xavian Abyss in Star Wars Squadrons. But the original plan was just to pop those ships on the map, maybe have some modifiers for health and everything. But I started thinking, what kind of elements of Star Wars Squadrons could I put in other than just putting the ships on the map? And you can see here we have two X-Wing squadrons for the New Republic. We have a B-Wing squadron and an A-Wing squadron, which is basically what you'd have in Star Wars Squadrons, although I obviously don't have a U-Wing squadron here. And on the Imperial side, we have the Raider, we have the Architens, we have two TIE Fighters, a TIE Bomber, TIE Interceptor, and TIE Defender, which is over here harassing our ships. But much like in Star Wars Squadron, the game works in a few different rounds. Off the opening here, we have basically the initial dogfight. And in that mode, rather than trying to just rack up points with the fighters, which would be a little bit difficult to track, you have the Raider and you have the CR-90, as you can see with the highlighted marks here, and you're basically trying to destroy the other sides first. This will then activate the next state, where if I win and kill the Raider, then we'll see some highlights over the Architens and we'll be targeting their Architens. Or if they win, we'll see them go after the Nebulon B. Obviously, some of this doesn't necessarily translate on its own as a game mode. A big part of the goal here was just to see what elements of Squadrons we could get in, and there's probably some changes I'd make to reflect that a bit more, or to make the game work a little bit better as an actual dedicated game mode. But I think what we've got here is a pretty cool representation of one of our favorite Star Wars games in another of our favorite Star Wars games. Sorry. But we are still in this initial fight here. It's a little bit difficult to take out this initial one when players are keeping them next to the flagship. The AI obviously doesn't really know that they're in a special game mode, but we're starting to get some damage here. Unlike in the main Empire at War Expanded mod setup, we have penetrating shields here, which allows the fighters to have a pretty disproportionate impact on the fight. Obviously, we are assaulting an anti-fighter ship with some fighters, so it's going to be a little bit dangerous for them here, but we're getting some damage done here. I'm going to wait for our next set of all the fighters so that we can send them in together, and I'm going to try to send them down on this side, because it looks like we might be able to even start getting some pod shots in from our capitals. Alright, now that we have them all together, we should be able to start making a move here. And alright, there we go. They're coming in a bit closer, so if we can cover our fighters while we're getting them into the Raider, stop the other enemy fighters from getting them, we should be able to take out this Raider with one more pass. Especially because we do have our CR-90. Let's pop the power to weapons on that. And I think one more good bombing run and we might have this. B-Wings, there we go. So we won the round. That gets rid of our Corvette as well, much like in Squadrons. And we're going to, as you can see, our ships are really picking up speed now. When you are on offense, you are able to go a lot faster. So the Imperials are going to be sitting there relatively immobile. But we're going to have another CR-90 here, which isn't tied to how long the round lasts. So now that we're on offense, we have 90 seconds to do as much damage as possible. The farther into the game you get, the more impactful those rounds get, because you're giving yourself more time to get across. So your ships are invulnerable while you're on offense, and during the dogfight phase. Your frigates will always be going a little bit faster than your capital, and that's where your corvettes are going to be spawning. But let's see if we can cover these fighters, get our A-Wing to do that as well, and we'll get the Y-Wings and the B-Wings in on... We're going to go for this one first. If we need to, we can pull our X-Wings off to defend, but they have some proton torpedoes, and you can see we got a good round off there. We're going to be close to the end of our first offensive round, but our Nebulon Bs will actually be in a good position to assault their Corvette at the start of the next round as well. So we're going to start having some actual frigate damage onto the Raider, even if they were to try to pull it back a bit more, whereas their ships won't have quite the same access to ours. Alright. Let's see if we can get this out pretty quickly. That X-Wing is going to be done for. I'm going to keep the A-Wings back, and I want to be ready to go on the offensive pretty quickly here. So we've got our MC-75 probably won't be in range to attack the Architens, but it looks like we'll be able to get a good round off. Yeah, there we go. Alright, now let's get our CR-90 up. Let's get you guys back a little bit, and we're going to go for this guy still. So we got that one, we got this one, and, well, let's still keep him back a little bit. Our A-Wing is having some fun over there. That is a unfortunately common Empire warbug. Y-Wings, you don't need to do this. X-Wings, keep covering them, and B-Wings, in we go. Alright, we also have some fighter repair abilities on this, which I just pressed at an inopportune time because obviously they wouldn't be on the in range. Okay, we might be able to actually take out the Architens in the first round here. So we got one more assault coming up, and let's see if we can get the CR-90 a bit farther up. Give it some support. It's faster than Nebulon B, so selecting them together is probably not the best thing I could be doing. But our offensive round should be coming to a close here, and I think 2 more, we might actually have this. If we were to destroy the Architens right now, it wouldn't actually switch the ISD to being able to be attacked. That would be another check that I haven't put in. If I were to continue developing this mode, which I really want to do because I just love Squadrons, and I really want to see where I could go with this. Then that'd probably be one of the next things I do, is make sure that it can transfer during the same mode, or during the same run, rather. Alright, we're back on dogfight mode, or the dogfight state here, and our fighters are going to go there. One of the other things that I'd really like to do if I were to, or if I am going to continue this, is have some more downtime for the fighters once they die. Because... Oh, there we go. Because right now it can be a little less effective taking out enemy fighters than you'd probably like. Like, you can keep them away from each other, which is actually very helpful, but it's not quite as powerful as you might like. Alright, the MC-75, we're going to pull around the corner here. See if we can actually get it to the Architens, but I think we're just going to have to rely on our Nebulon Bs. Go in there. Let's group our fighters out back here. And I don't know that, yeah, those Y-Wings are done for. But we can bring the CR-90 up behind, and then we're going to have a good area of control in around our Nebulon Bs, and we're going to be able to get some bombing runs off. Actually, those Y-Wings did survive. So we might actually get it here, yeah. Nice. Alright, so at the end of this offensive round, if we're able to win the next one, which isn't necessarily a given, considering that the MC-75 is actually much farther up than is safe. I was kind of hoping it would help us against the Architens, but we didn't get that damage out, and we did put ourselves in a much more dangerous position at the start of the next round. So let's just fast forward through the rest of this one, because all the actual ships are going to be invulnerable. But, oh, that came in right next to Nebulon B. So if we can get a good shot off here, obviously a real player. I really want to play this against Charlie. That's the plan, but it might desync, Empire War being what it is. So I figured showing it off on its own would probably, or on my own, would probably be a good first step. But we would like to do some multiplayer matches in this if we can. But a real player there with the IST probably would have been telling it to go after the CR90. I didn't do a full AI rewrite for this, but we've got the shield gen down, and we can start taking out the rest of the IST. It's looking good for the New Republic here. We can take out basically everything except the hangar. Felt that might be a little bit overpowered. A Squadrons game mode where there's no squadrons left. But even the CR90 can get in, get some power to weapons on those. They'll have probably one more shot at an offensive run themselves, but I'm making sure that we take down these heavier weapons. And so the MC-75 is actually much weaker than the IST would be, but it does have these 2 proton torpedoes, which when the shields are being pierced means that it's pretty good at taking out the Empire, or taking out the shield gen compared to the other way around. Obviously in Squadrons itself, shield penetration isn't a thing other than flying through or using the newer update that has the prototype penetrating missile. So it's not as common as we're representing here, but again, Empire War being what it is, it did seem like a good way to make them have that kind of disproportionate impact on the battles. It looks like we had a pretty easy win there on that round, and we're just finishing off this IST. But 2 hard points left. That poor little arrow. And one more. And there we go. So that's it for the Star Wars Squadrons game mode here. Again, it's something that I plan to do a bit more development on. If you'd like to see more of that, you can check out the mod this is based on, Empire War Expanded. There will probably be a link in the description for that on Steam. And if you want to see more of me working on it or see a game from the Imperial side, then I'm also going to do one of those on my own channel, CoreyLoses, which I'm going to beg for them to put in the description as well. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you're enjoying Star Wars Squadrons. Hope you enjoyed this fun little game mode. Even if it's not the most balanced thing right now, I thought it would be a fun way to pay homage to, again, one of our favorite games to come out in recent times, Star Wars Squadrons. Have a good one, everyone.